Death by Mitten here. I'm going to be covering Burnt Horizon and the two new Australian operators, Gridlock and Mosey. Gridlock is the attacker, Mosey is the defender. Gridlock has what appears to me from several different YouTubers that have already covered this, Twitter information, in general information off the internet. Basically, they Gridlock, she has some kind of trap that she deploys. That when you step on it, it probably does some kind of damage to you. So it's kind of like her covering her ass in a way. I guess that's kind of how I would go about using Nomad, I think, from this most recent Wind Basin operation, with her gadget that basically throws you back a certain distance. Once you hear that sound, you get that sound cue that there's somebody in the area. You do a very minimal amount of damage to them, I think, from what I remember. So this trap that she deploys, Gridlock, the trap that she deploys, basically, I would say kind of enables, her to be covered, if there is a roaming defender somewhere. That will cause some damage to her. It might also give her some kind of sound cue or visual cue. I don't know. The full reveal trailer is tomorrow, so I will be covering that with, super amount of excitement. I'm actually quite excited to see the full reveal of this whole new operation and the two new operators. And then Mosey is the defender that deploys a gadget that basically somehow it seems almost like he's going to be hacking drones, which is very interesting. And obviously in the background there's the teaser trailer, the trailer, everything that they released for information from Rainbow Six in general. Just covering this whole topic prior to the release. I will have that in the background playing, but I just wanted to cover those few little minor things and my thoughts and opinions about it. When it comes to Gridlock, the attacker, I feel like depending on the weapons, I feel like she could be very versatile. When it comes to her gadget, it does not sound so appealing to me. I feel like it's almost like, well, if you have a claymore, you might as well just put a claymore somewhere to cover your back, or just pay attention to sound. If it's a Caveira, then pay attention to other things, or maybe you might get lucky. But sometimes, it really depends on the situation. Like, you can utilize that, but I feel like it really depends on how you're gonna place it. And technically, as an attacker, if you have a whole team that's kind of hunkered down, they're not really moving a lot, they're just kind of either around the objective or in the objective, then her gadget becomes useless because, let's say, the other team, the defending team, does not have any roamers. Let's say they're complete noobs. They don't have a single roamer, or the only roamer that was out and about is already dead. Then her gadget becomes incredibly useless. The only time that I can see it being kind of useful is, if you're playing Secure the Area and the team happens to be around the area, but they're not exactly on the objective, which I don't know why anybody would leave the objective. There should always be at least one or two players in there, at least from, my past experiences. Sometimes I'll stay, sometimes I'll roam, depending on the situation. But then if you get in there and you're starting to secure that and there's only two entrances, and let's say if she has two of those road spikes or whatever, but they're for humans stepping on them, so they're not as big, she can deploy them near the entrance. So as soon as someone turns that corner, they take damage, that they have taken damage, and then you can pick them off. That's where I feel like her gadget will come most useful. Other than that, I feel like her gadget really is situational. I don't think it is full-on useful. I strongly believe that it's based on situation. Not too excited about that particular gadget, but I'm just expressing my opinions on it, going off other operators. Like Wind Basin was great. The operators were great. The weapons were great. The gadgets were great. Everything. I enjoyed Wind Basin. That was a great op. The 2 operators were amazing. Like I said, 2 good gadgets. Very interesting. Very useful depending on the situation. For the most part, like, you have Kayed that's a defender, and he can deploy the claw. If you do great placement, you can, then kind of expand, with Bandit. If you have Bandit also, you can really kind of cover a lot of that space, pairing that with Mute, to not allow, Hibana charges or, Thermite charges to blow through certain things. You have a very well fortified area. That's why I believe like Kayed and Nomad in general, in the previous operation, were very useful. This, Gridlock seems, like I said, very situational. We'll see, depending on the weapons she has. I might get a little bit excited based on the weapons that these operators have. But as of right now, Gridlock, her gadget, not really, doesn't really appeal to me. Doesn't appeal to my style of gaming or how I go about playing Rainbow. So, I mean, take it with a grain of salt. These are my opinions. It might turn out that her gadget actually is very useful. Obviously, I don't want to jump to too much conclusion here because we haven't had it revealed yet. But, that's kind of from what the general information that we already do have. Those are my opinions on Gridlock. When it comes to Mosey, I feel like his gadget, on the other hand, can come in quite, in handy, or quite handy in general. Like, I mean, if you pair your operators correctly, I mean, that could be very useful. He could be like a defender, kind of like, how you have Dokkaebi, how she can hack cameras, this and that. It's kind of like the defenders have their own Dokkaebi now, which is really cool because now if you have a Dokkaebi, maybe that could be a good counter to Dokkaebi. But it's only seems like it's for drones. So I think that is very, I can't say overpowered, but I feel like that is incredibly scary for the attackers because if his gadget is placed right and you can hack drones, I doubt that you're going to be able to move those drones. That would actually be really cool if that was the case. But if it's just based on like if you have that operator, people hide their drones somewhere, right? And then you haven't put down your devices yet, but you're kind of outnumbered and you're afraid that people are going to ping you and rush you. Then you place and deploy, your gadget as Mosey, and then you can see where they were looking at, from what angle they were looking at you from. So then you can be like, okay, cool. So now they can't do anything with those drones, so they can't find out exactly where I am, basically, right? So I feel like that makes Mosey probably a very iconic and very deadly operator, simply because, if he's able to hack the cameras, if he's able to maneuver the drones, and when I say cameras, I mean the cameras that are on the drones. If he's able to maneuver the drones, drones, I think that's going to become even more deadly. That can have you position then the drones in a very clever spot for you to be able to kind of get one up on the on the enemy team, because you can hide those drones around where you think that they might be peeking towards the objective. Now, on the other hand, if you can't move the drones, which I'm guessing that's what it's going to be, that you're not able to move the drones, but you're able to see what the drone operator initially was able to see, and then you prevent them from seeing it. It's like it becomes your drone, but you can't move it, which kind of sucks, but you can still see the angles that they were seeing you in, so you can kind of have a better picture on how or where they could be potentially pushing from based on that drone placement, and the angle and so on and so forth. So it gives you kind of like maybe a small kind of ballpark idea of where they're going to, potentially rush you from, to give you a better ability to prepare yourself. So I feel that Mosey as a defender is going to be very punishing for the attacking team, and I'm very excited to use Mosey as an operator, seeing what I can do with his gadgets. Like I said, that's the operator that I'm excited about. Gridlock really depends. Like if she has a good weapon, I will be content and happy with that. But I feel like her gadget is just very situational, and that is my beef. That is my problem with that operator. I feel like her gadget is just so very much situational that it can become useful, but it's depending on the situation. If there's a situation comes up where you can actually place them and actually, like I said, within the objective, if you're capturing an objective and, the defenders are going to be coming back in, or if you just planted, at a site, where you're planting the diffuser or whatever, then okay, you can place them by where they would go to defuse, right? And that causes them damage, and then you can pop around the corner and pop them off and pick them off. So that's where her gadget can shine and be useful, at least from, what I know. But other than that, for roamers, I really doubt it will become useful against roamers. A roamer, just me going off of me playing as a roamer, I play a lot more cautiously. I always check the ground, I check above me, I check everything. I go a little bit slower, so I have a higher probability of noticing, that particular gadget, and then there's probably going to be a way to destroy it. So it will become like a completely useless, gadget for against roamers, at least in my mind, unless there's a roamer that's completely not paying attention or moving too fast. But when it comes to you kind of then defending when you're securing an area against the defenders, that's when her gadget becomes useful. Other than that, like I said, her gadget completely, based on opportunity, based on the situation, it's completely situational, has nothing to do with roamers, at least from my thoughts. Like, I don't know why there's that whole concept people are mentioning, oh, it's good to deter roamers. If you're a good roamer, you're not going to walk into that trap. If you're an idiot, you're going to walk into that trap. Those are my thoughts, my opinions. If you like the video, definitely hit that like button. Leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this new operation and the two new operators. And let me know what you think about my opinions that I've stated in this video and commentary. And if you want to go as far as subscribing and hitting that bell, I would greatly appreciate it. And I am Death by Mint, and that's all I got to say. Peace.